You just tuned in to Up for Discussion. What's up? We are here at Ultra Products for Up for Discussion. This evening is going to be an interesting one. This evening we're talking about is it really hot? Like loud for you guys?
Not bad for me.
All right, perfect. Mine's pretty hot. So
Sounds good.
all right. So this evening we've got a couple different guests. We've got Chris Miles and we've got Greyson Goebel, and they are from the Indian Creek Anglers. And so we're going to be talking about that and talking about what all that entails. This evening we are here at Ultra Products. Ultra Products is one of the main sponsors for Up for Discussion. Another sponsor this week is Miller Creek Taxidermy. Miller Creek is a great place to take your taxidermy, and I can tell you personally, they've got fantastic heroes, and they also do great live mounts. Not live mounts, shoulder mounts, live mounts. Let's
once upon a time,
they were used to be live. Miller Creek Taxidermy, located in Wayne City, Illinois. Give them a call, and they'll take care of anything you need. So, all right, you guys ready?
Ready.
Yeah. All right. So
Indian Creek Anglers.
That is a group that you guys have formed.
By finding out what they are.
Let's start out with the conception.
So it started out as a men's group at our church, and we just kind of went around and fished at different lakes and different places. And then Greyson asked me, he said, "Hey, I'd like to do some tournaments." So I started kind of looking around and found a high school fishing trail that is local that we decided to start participating in. And we had him and just one of his partners, and then we had one substitute last year, and that was our first year that we started.
All right.
So it came in underneath like a school type.
Initially, right?
Initially,
it started at the church as a group of
guys.
It
started as a group, and then we approached the school. They didn't have the funding to kind of start it, so then we basically took it private,
right,
and kind of just formed a club and put it together. And then we really didn't know how big it was going to grow and how quickly. But last year, we had three people, and now we have 6 coaches and 12 kids.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. So it's out from underneath the school.
Yeah.
So how does it, my next question was, does any of that fall on school time?
No.
Like because ultimately you guys are fishing tournaments.
Yeah. So most of our tournaments are either single day or 2-day tournaments. Most of them are Saturdays, Sundays.
Right.
So on days that we have to travel, we leave on Friday after school, and then we travel up, stay in a hotel. We fish Saturday, Sunday, come home after Sunday after the tournament ends.
Yeah. So do you guys have private people funding it then?
Yes. So we have to go out and basically we approach businesses, which it's a little hard being private because we're not a 501(c), which would be great, but it's very complicated and
sure.
Opens another bag.
Yes, opens up a whole nother bag.
No pun intended.
But so we have to go out and we talk to different businesses and they fund us, and that covers our jersey costs, that covers our hotel costs, our tournament fees, like all of that is covered by businesses throughout Carmine, North City. You guys also have helped sponsor us at one point, and it's been a lot of different people that have helped out. So it's basically a community effort that makes it possible. So,
and go back and tell me, you started with 3 kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there an age group that you're like, obviously you'd almost have to say
the sweet spot.
Yeah. You'd almost have to say, if you're 5, it may not be. So I don't know what the age group.
So the tournament trail covers junior high and high school.
All right.
Junior high to me starts in 6th grade. There have been kids that have approached that are like 5th grade and below, and it's kind of then that jumps into a whole nother part of the school, which means like I'm covering elementary, junior high, high school. So we've kind of limited it down to just junior high and high school.
That gets tricky too.
Yes.
On like, are you basically giving them an opportunity to be a part, or are you teaching them?
So a lot of it is that it's up to the coach in the boat. So they're on my coaches. I've told them, you're there to help them. You're there to teach them, to kind of guide them. You're not, there's a lot of people that like to hang over the shoulder, and like, there's a lot of electronics out there. There's a lot of different things you can do. And they're like, oh yeah, there's a fish here. There's a fish there. Like, I like to let them learn, and I'll teach them about it, but I like to let them figure it out to kind of give them a more well-rounded performance.
You're saying like shut the electronics off?
No, like I have some that you can see where it's at. I've shown them. I have it all set up. I have all the settings, but I let them use it to try to figure it out instead of just being like sitting up front, being like, hey, there's a fish here. There's a fish here.
Sure.
Like, just actually teach them the fundamentals of, there's a pocket here. There's probably going to be some fish. Well, then they turn and see it, and they kind of understand, oh, okay, yeah, that works.
Things so then they help them to remember to look for even.
Yeah, because eventually it gets to a point where once you get to college, you no longer have a coach sitting with you. So the more that we can teach them and the more that we can let them learn on their own is only going to further them later on.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So
Greyson, you're probably not real far from being uncoached in.
Yeah, I don't know for sure if I'm planning on fishing in college. I mean, I'll for sure continue doing tournaments, but probably just like local tournaments, because I don't know. I'm not that interested in trying to make it a living, but I still love fishing tournaments. So.
Yeah. Is it because you don't feel like you're that good, or because you think it's not?
I just know it's a lot of work and a lot of time away from home, and just on the road traveling, and I don't know if I'm willing to commit to that. So
to try to ultimately go pro would be intense, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask something that slipped me, but is there opportunity? I don't even realize, is there opportunity in college to be like a college sponsored, like, I guess scholarships, what I'm asking, and stuff like that?
Yeah. So Wabash Valley College is actually one of the biggest ones that picks up a lot of kids from the trail that we fish.
Yeah.
They've picked up several over the last year or two that actually fish for their team in a sponsorship level. And there's other colleges that as well have also picked up different ones. So there are opportunities. I don't know how much it covers, how much they, but you still get the opportunity to do what degree you would want to do that's not required of fishing, but then you have the opportunity to fish. But like he said, it is a lot of time, and it's a lot of time away from sometimes class, because their tournaments are not always on the weekend, because most of your professional tournaments are. So they usually kind of have to adjust to make time for it. So
seems like it'd be awful awesome to be. What are you going to college
I think
for?
We missed out.
Well, basically fishing, but I mean more than that, I guess. But so you're not maybe interested in fishing in college?
Not necessarily. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind for sure.
Yeah. So how long have you been with Indian Creek and doing this?
This fall was my second fall doing it. We did it last spring, but that's been it. So a year and a half now.
So what's your takeaway? You get sucked into the tournament side of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's different.
You ever
it's
beat
not
your
just
pole on the water?
It's not just fun fishing. I mean, it is still fun. That's like the whole aspect of it. But I mean, it's just different because you have something you can take away from it.
Well, anything as a guy you turn into a competition, it turns into more of a drive to do better or be great at it. Or that's why I made the joke about you see guys smacking their poles on water if you're watching. I don't even know his Bassmasters.
We know guys who've smacked their poles on water.
His Bassmasters Classic, is that all still a thing? When I was a kid, I grew up watching all that, and you'd watch guys lose fish right at the boat. And
we've actually had
to cut to commercial
a few of those experiences. So and it's a little tough, especially when you've had not the greatest day, and then
Yeah.
you finally get a fish and you get it to the boat and you realize you don't have a net, and then you're trying to grab it out of the water and it comes off in your
Yeah.
hand. It's
Oh.
pretty heartbreaking.
It's gut-wrenching, heartbreaking when you've got a good fish to the boat and you lose it and it's not for a tournament.
Yeah.
You know, anybody that's fished very long has been there. It's like hands on it. Like I've touched them, you know, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I've never did fish tournaments. Now we fished just for fun, like 2 or 3 guys, you know, would go up there, 2 or 3 boats, I guess I should say, and a couple guys in each boat. And at the end of the day, whoever was on top, you know, had to buy supper, or not on top, whoever lost had to buy supper. We did that once or twice up at Newton. And I grew up what I call pond hopping, just fishing ponds. I mean, I had a 3-wheeler and I knew where every mud hole was.
He did.
Between Jeff, you know, west of Jeff to south of Fairfield. I all the way around Fairfield, I knew a lot of them. And I thought I was a great bass fisherman. And then I went to a lake for the first time and I was like, I know nothing about catching bass, apparently, because I cannot catch a fish. It's just it's just different. Yeah. How do you explain that? Because I feel like I know what was different for a guy that's getting ready to go or join you guys, and all they've ever did is fish small water. When I say small water, I fished some 4 and 5 acre.
Yeah.
You know, but it's still not the same.
So we've actually had a few teams that all they did was fish strip pits. They fished small lakes.
Yeah.
It kind of took them a few goes to kind of get the feel of it. Because then you do have a lot of different things that happen. Of some of these lakes are, if you're over 25 horse, you can't use your big motor.
Right.
So you have to troll around. So then you're slow moving, kind of change your aspect. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to spend my time?
Right.
So you kind of have to do like a lot of research beforehand and kind of pick your spots. And then kind of not veer too far away from the ramp so you make it back in time.
Yeah.
So it does take a little bit of getting used to. They kind of struggled at the beginning, but then the last couple tournaments we've had in the fall, they did really well and they performed really well. So it's just one of those things of the more you do it, the more you kind of understand what you need to do.
Right.
And
so what would you tell me? Like, so I'm a pond hopper, and then I join up with you guys in my first 2 or 3 outings. I was like, I couldn't hardly catch a fish.
You can't join them.
I'm not going
You're
to.
too old.
I'm not going to, but I'm just, I
High
want
school
someone to
and
explain.
junior high.
You know, I finally started learning. And basically, it would be the same scenario, just not under the guise of what you guys are doing, but like going with my uncle that had fished tournaments and fished big water for years. But I still was like, I was bumfuzzled that I couldn't catch fish. And I really don't know what changed other than I just did what they were doing. Mm-hmm. I think it was a matter of I was so used to, when you're in a pond, I was just so used to, oh, you're going to catch a fish.
Yeah.
Because they can't hide from them. There's only so far they can go in that little old, you know, acre and a half or half acre pond.
Yeah.
And then I got on the big water and I was like, you know, I couldn't find them, I guess was my problem.
It went deep.
It could be partially that, but also there's a lot more pressure on the bigger lakes because more people fish there.
Right.
And there could be people fishing right in front of you. So you just have to.
Yeah, that fish sat there and watched 10 or 15 lures in a matter of a few hours.
Yeah.
What's your favorite lure?
I would have to go with, and a lot of people despise it, is a Cinco. Like I will sit there and throw a Cinco all day long, and it's just grinding. It is just tiresome, but to me, like I love doing it. You just throw it down. It's basically a small weighted worm, and then you just kind of hop it along. But you can cover anything. You can cover grass. You can cover structure. You can cover rocks. So I can sit there and throw that thing for 4 or 5 hours, and some people are like, absolutely not, will not touch it.
Right.
Like just hate it.
Because it's more of just a bouncing.
It's just, moving your hand all day long. And, you know, that's what I tell them. They're like, well, you know, I don't know what to do. I'm like, find things you're confident in, like stuff you know that works in a small pond. Put that on a rod. Don't use anything else. And then you know what you catch fish on. You know you catch them around structure. You know you catch them on rocks. You know, and this is the depth. Just find what works for you, and then use that. And when you're looking at that lake, okay, there's an area here that has those 3 things,
Right.
and it's in a small pocket. Spend 2 or 3 hours in there making circles, just finding what works. And then once you find that, you're like, okay. And I think that's the thing, is the more confidence they have in themselves of this works for me, it gives them a little bit of a boost.
Sure.
What's the
Greyson,
Cinco?
how about you
Well,
buzzbait guy?
I really like catching them on a frog, but I mean, it doesn't always work the best. Like, it's been harder and harder to get fish on a frog, especially in tournaments whenever there's 30 other people fishing in front of you.
Are
So
you talking like a scum frog, or is what I used to call rats, scum rats, or frogs?
yeah, it's the one that are
Topwater.
like weedless, top
Yes,
water.
man. Man, after my own heart. That's one of my favorite things to catch fish on, and I've caught some of my biggest fish through the years on those.
because they blow up on
I'm a
them,
cricket man.
and then you just crack them with the hook set.
What's the best? What's the lure? Because I know different seasons, you know, things change to some degree.
Yep.
What's one for a lake fisherman? It's like, man, this lure, it seems like I can catch fish in the spring, the summer, and the fall on it. Is that soft plastic stuff?
Yeah,
or-
usually, like if there's one that I always have tied on that no matter what time of year would be like, depending on the weight, like I said, depending on how deep and stuff like that you want to go, you can always change up that throughout the year, would be like a pit boss, which is just like it's like a bug with a tail on it basically.
Yeah.
And like, no matter what time you can change up, there's so many variations of colors of it, but you can throw that type of bait like from beginning to end of the year and constantly catch fish.
Catch fish on it.
This past year, I've had quite a bit of success on a chatterbait, and I mean, it doesn't always work, and sometimes you do have to slow down and throw something that just sits there in their face, but a chatterbait has been working really well for me.
I always like rooster tails. Those always work good for me.
Yeah, rooster tail. Well, it seems like in the spring in a pond, you can catch every fish in that pond on a rooster tail. I mean, when I say fish, bluegill, crappie, catfish, and bass on a rooster tail. And it seems like for me, they always shut off, or maps, kind of put them in the same, you know, rooster tail maps, basically the same lure to some degree. Maps always ran better for me, but you can catch everything in the spring on a maps or a rooster tail, but and then they start shutting off. You can still catch fish on them, but when the water gets warm, it's like what he said. It seems like you need to put on a soft plastic and just inch it along, you know, sometimes for them. But
so, Chris, let me ask you this: what exactly was the thing that caused you to be like, "Let's do this"? Because this is not, you know.
Because I need more things in my life.
Sure.
Yeah. It's basically, for me, it's something that I love. You know, I've always fished a lot and traveled and done it. And for me, it did turn into something that was, I love to do it, love to fish, but it is, like he said, it's very tiresome. It's a lot of days. It's a lot of going and doing stuff all the time. And I just wanted to be able to give an opportunity to some kids that don't play baseball. They don't play basketball.
That's right.
There's not enough sports that they do. And for them, this is something that they excel at.
Yeah.
And they do very well. So, you know, kids that don't grow all of a sudden and half the basketball team is 6'5" and you're 5 foot. Well, you're kind of sitting the bench all the time. But if you do very well, like, when you go out on the water, it don't matter how big, how tall, what you are. Like, you put in the work, like, you're going to see results.
Yeah.
So,
Greyson, what was the thing that caused you to be like, I want to join this?
I don't really know for sure, but like,
did your dad sign you up? Or?
No, honestly, I got into bass fishing more than my dad did. My dad kind of got into bass fishing when I did, and I'd say that was about 5 years or so ago whenever I started really getting into bass fishing. I mean, I saw these YouTube videos and stuff, and I was like, that looks really fun. So
yeah, that's cool.
What do you guys, I mean, what's like the limit on do you perceive like we can only take this many? And if so, if you're like, what'd you say you have now? 12?
12 kids and 6 boats is what we run.
So what I'm saying is, does it reach a place where it's like, oh, we're going to have tryouts or?
So
Because that's almost seems like something like you would never want to have to do, but you can't take. Well, I guess I shouldn't say you can't take everybody. If you had enough volunteers and coaches, you could take in boats.
People have asked me that, and the answer is I can have as many kids as I have boats.
Yeah,
that is our biggest problem. That's the hardest obstacle to overcome. We can go get money from businesses. We can raise money. We can do everything in the world. But if I have 5 boats, I only have 5 boats.
Sure.
So that is the hardest part, is finding people that have time, that want to put in the time and the effort to coach these kids, that have the availability, that can travel, that can give that time. Because if I don't have that in the boat, I mean, I have a boat, and if like I use it, and last year I coached him and his partner, and then this year I took a team that did not have a boat. They wanted to fish, no one had a boat, so I let them use mine, and then I coached them out of my boat. And then basically that's kind of how it works, is if there was another team that came up after this one graduated in a couple of years and someone wanted to fish but they didn't have a boat, we kind of put it together. The way we kind of work ours is whoever owns the boat, that person, of course, their child, if they're fishing, and then if they have a partner in mind that came to sign up, if there's someone they want to work with, then that's fine. If they don't have a partner, then that's kind of where we pull the group of, this is how many kids we have available.
Sure.
And if it did come down to it, yeah, I would probably get a couple boats and take them out to like a private lake and have them do a fish off.
right.
And then just kind of evaluate their skills and how they do under pressure, and then just kind of how they perform. And that would be, whoever did very well, or I could see doing very well, would get the spot, and then the other ones would become subs.
Right.
So we're allowed a sub in our open events, which is open to any high school teams or any local teams, or just anybody local period in high school or junior high can participate in it. In the events, you have to be a member. So in our opens, that's our time to kind of bring people on and see how they do. And that's kind of my time to watch them. And then I kind of make adjustments from there on. I may move some teams or people around on teams to make it work. So
you said 12, so that means you got two-person teams.
Yeah, there's
6
there's
boats?
2 people per boat, and then you have the coach. So there's
Right.
3 total. And 8th graders can fish with high school, and they can fish with junior high. So they're kind of in a spot where they can kind of fish either division. In the junior high level, you automatically get to go to the championship. But in high school, you have to kind of earn your way. Last year, they were in 7th grade, and they actually went to the championship and fished. And they were kind of concerned about fishing this year against high schoolers. And they're like, well,
Right.
we don't know if we're ready. I said, how about this? I said, you guys fish. I'll sign you up. Like, I'm not going to tell you what I sign you up for, but
Right.
we'll see how you do. And right now, they're probably like my 3rd ranked team that does very well.
Yeah.
And they were concerned about not being able to do it. And yet they have placed in top 10 several times against high schoolers. We're talking anywhere from 30 to 60 or 80 boats at a time.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question. When you show up at a tournament, I mean, I didn't want people that would listen to this to think, oh, they're just 6 boats and they're all showing up somewhere and fishing against each other. You're taking your team, 6 teams, to a place where, what'd you say, 60, 80 boats?
Yeah. So most of our events run anywhere from 40 to 80 plus. I think the championship is 80 or 90 that we fish in Illinois. And then when we go to Missouri, it is the top 30, I believe, from Illinois. And then there's teams from Missouri, there's teams from Wisconsin, and then there's invites sent out to a couple other states. But usually it can be anywhere from like 40 to 100 plus boats. So
what's I guess what would be so just for a picture, the people from around here, what's the lakes that are in this region that you're going to?
So we fish. We just fished this past season in the fall. We fished Newton, and then we fished Wren Lake. We fished Lake of Egypt. We fished Kincaid. Then when you go to, we fish 2 divisions. So the state is broken up into 3 divisions: north, central, and south.
Right.
We fish in the south and we fish in central. Excuse me. And in the central, we fished St. Chris, Springfield, and then we also have a couple different ones. Shelbyville is another one we've been to before. We didn't go this year. I think he went by himself. He did very well there as well. And so we cover from basically Springfield down is where we travel.
So, man, I'm thinking like some of those lakes I know, or I've been on them before. Like for Newton would be one of the most that I know the best. Well, I know Wren Lake well. Wren Lake, obviously easy. 60 boats could be all over it.
Oh, yeah.
And it wouldn't maybe feel crowded, or it could, but depends on where everybody goes, obviously. But to me, when I think about if there was 60 boats at Newton, I would think you're lined up pretty tight in some places. I would think.
You may pull up into a cove and there may be 10 boats in
Yeah,
there.
that's what I
And
mean.
you're all, 50, 75 feet apart, just following each other. But I mean, I've watched 2 boats go in front of us and fish. The first boat catch one, pull out, keeps going. The next boat behind him catch it in the same spot. And then we'd pull up right behind them and caught one. And I'm like, why didn't they just sit here? But
And
it's
fish
because,
it,
you got people coming up. You kind of feel like you have to move on.
Like you're crowded or something.
Yeah.
Last fall when we fished at Lake of Egypt, there was 88 boats in that one. That's
Because that's another one that's would.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that'd be.
It gets
I think
crowded
I'd
at
be like,
times.
I think I'll just pull over and fish from the bank.
There's a ditch over there. I'll see if I can
Yeah.
cast into it.
But is Wren Lake the toughest to catch fish on?
Wren Lake was pretty tough this year. The water had dropped several feet,
Yeah, it was way down every time I drove
And,
past it. I know.
but they did really well. We had a couple that finished in the top 10. I think we had 5 boats, and out of the 5 boats we had, 4 of them caught 1 or 2 that was over between 2 and 4 pounds.
Man,
So-
I struggle to catch bass out of Wren Lake.
Yeah.
You know, the best I've ever done on Wren Lake was from the blasted bank off a boat dock. And I'm like, are you kidding me? We'd go over there and fish that. I had a buddy that had a boat. We'd go over and fish Wren Lake and just do everything we needed to do. And I had a guy I worked with that was a big bass fisherman. He's like, oh, he told me what to do. I went over and flipped jigs in them willows until I was like, I'm tired of dancing with snakes and snakes falling in the boat, because you get in those willows and them those water snakes are laying them in there everywhere, son. And I'm not scared of snakes, but it's like, give me a break. And we never caught a fish. And then one day I was over there just for giggles with Chad Higgins, and we pulled in this, I can't remember which boat ramp it is to say myself, but there's a little dock there. We were doing something. I was like, we had poles. I was like, I'm going to fish for just a minute. I think caught like 3 or 4 fish at 3 pounds plus off that dock. I was like, there are bass in Wren Lake. That's how I felt. I was like, I don't think it's a great catfishing lake and junk fish lake, but I about decided there wasn't no bass in that lake till that one day.
Let me ask you this. What is your best fishing story that you're like, that one will go down forever?
Does it have to be in a tournament?
No.
Just
the one that you're like, that one I'll always remember.
I would say for me would be last year when we fished at Kincaid. His partner Abe had literally just went the week before on a trip to fish for muskie, and we went to Kincaid and we were fishing, going along, and Greyson told him, he's like, we give him a chatterbait, and he told him, he's like, throw it in the grass, and as soon as you get there, just pop it out. And so as soon as it hits, it pops and it just hammers it. And we thought it was a bass because didn't see it. It just blew up on top, went under, took it. We couldn't see the fish. And it starts pulling the boat around. I'm like, that's massive, like whatever that is.
yeah.
And it came up close enough. We saw green and was like, oh, it's a bass. But then, like, when it started pulling the boat, and I told Grayson, I said, "You're gonna have to chase this thing down because it's not coming back."
Yeah.
And so we chased it down. He pulls it up, and it was a 14.5 pound, like 48-inch muskie.
No. out
So
of an Illinois,
out of Kincaid. And his dad was like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "We just went on a trip to do this for 2 or 3 days and didn't catch anything." And he's like, "And you come home and catch one in a lake that I was not expecting to catch one."
That is a good story.
It's almost like the Lord going, "There you go." You know,
you thought you had a plan.
Yeah. I'll show you where there's a big muskie hiding in a Illinois lake where no one expects it. You know.
Yeah.
But, You got a favorite?
My favorite is probably we catfish sometimes at this one. It's called Round Pond. It's the Ohio River. Like whenever it floods into Round Pond, so it has quite a few big fish in it. And we set some catfish rods out. And then we went to go get pizza. We came back and one was snagged. So I went out there in my kayak and I got it unsnagged. And then the line started pulling. So I just started hand lining a fish in. And then I got it to my kayak and it was like a big catfish. So I didn't know really what to do, but I got it in the boat and in the kayak and got back and it was 25-pound blue cat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Me and Lathan, we've got quite a few catfish stories. So
yeah, we noodled fish or hogged them or whatever you want to say for a lot of years. But
Mississippi finger fishing.
Yeah. Don't hardly do it anymore.
No.
I was ate up with it for a lot of years. And I think the first time I went was like in the 7th grade. A guy took us. And then, man, when I got old enough to take myself down there to Wren Lake is where we did a lot of it. Did it some in the river. But I would hog. And then I got a job out of high school where I worked second shift. So I'd go down there 3 days out of the week and then Saturday. So my wife was pushed to her limits, but I would hog fish until like
she's been pushed to her limits more than once.
I would hog fish until my hands and arms were just so raw. And I literally trying to be a big tough man, you know, would almost pick on people for wearing gloves and stuff. And then I had to start wearing gloves and they're like, I was like, well, I go so much that I was like, my hands can't get healed up.
Yeah.
From all the fish bites and the rocks and the nicks and the scratches. And yeah, we'd go, how we had it planned. We'd go Tuesday and Wednesday. No, we'd go Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, how we had it. And the guys I worked with. And then Saturday morning, we'd get off Friday night at 12:30 working second shift. We just all head to the lake. We'd be there at sometimes 3 in the morning. We'd hog the real known places in the dark before people got there.
Yeah, because if you did that, nobody saw.
And then
where
you went
at.
to your secret spots, you know, that you kind of had found in the daylight. So, and that may be why I don't go anymore. I just went so much, I just burnt myself out. But that's a whole different game than Indian Creek angling. We have to watch it. We'll go down big long rabbit trails. But so you've got 12 kids, 6 boats. All the sponsorship you said is to cover hotels. Does and travel and all that stuff? Does it pay entry fees to get in?
Yeah, so it pays entry fees, the hotel cost, and then the membership to the trail that we fish, and then it also covers the cost of the jerseys, which we don't have to get them every year, but like if they need one,
sure,
you know, if the kids are growing and need to get a new size, then we get the money set aside for it to where
does
it can be covered.
Does it cover any of your tackle or anything? Is that all just?
No, my boat, I tell them, I said, it's pretty much free reign. Like whatever's in there, you can use it. I usually bring a couple rods. Like I tell them, you know, bring 3 or 4 rods that you're comfortable and use. And then I usually keep about 4 in the rod locker. And I tell them, I said, anything that's in those boxes, you can use it. There's a few items though. I'm like, probably not that.
Yeah.
You know, we talking, you know, $30 to $50 swim baits. Like, not just going to let anyone throw those.
There's a swim bait that costs almost $50.
That's cheap.
No kidding.
There's swim baits that cost like $200.
Oh my word! I've been out of it a long time. Just custom made ones, I guess.
Yeah. There's a couple different ones that are pretty high up there. And I mean, same with like rod and reels. And then, of course, you got screens and stuff like that. And that's what everybody asks, like, well, what happens if something happens to your boat? Well, you have insurance.
Yeah.
And you hopefully don't have a high deductible.
I mean, when you get a $200 swim bait, can you insure that thing?
Yeah, I mean,
because every time you go like this, there's a chance.
There's a chance,
it's
and
not
that's
coming back to the boat.
You know, walking that thing on top of water, you take a chance of a 7-pound bass coming up and eating it and snapping your line off.
Right.
Just watching it swim
you just
underwater.
Never know. Yeah, you just never know. There can. I mean, I guess if you're walking the dog on top of the water and you hook it on a stick or something, you go over and get it.
Yeah.
But is the only scenario where you lose one is a fish?
No, I mean, you get hung up in a tree.
Yeah,
you get hung up in some rocks or something, and then the water's too shallow and you just can't reach it.
Oh, I get it for $200. I get in the water.
Time to swim, boys.
I'm getting in the water. I'm like, get it as close as you can get it, and I'm getting wet for this one. I've got wet for way cheaper lures.
Yeah, I would probably chase something down like that. But yeah, most of the time, like if it's $2 or $3 lure and they're like, well, I can't get it, it's like break it off, like it's okay.
Yeah, right.
But
right.
yeah, if that was the case and it was stuck in the rocks, I'd probably hop out of the boat and swim over and get it.
Yeah, because it's
But the ones
that blows my mind.
And you can't easily replace those because I mean it takes a while to make them because they're like resin made, handmade, and
handmade stuff,
limited stock.
I'm still blown away by a $200 bait.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize that even happened.
That's a first.
It is.
You should have answered it. Somebody called in. Say hello. You're on up for discussion with us. What's your question?
That's funny.
But so, what's the name of a custom swim bait that's $200? Let's do a commercial plug for somebody here.
Clutch swim baits. They make some expensive ones. Like OG is like $140, and then there's also KGB. He makes one that's $140 as well.
That's wild to me.
I was gonna say I can't think of a lot of the names of them, but I know a lot of the ones that I've looked at and stuff are like there's a lot of guys in Texas, of course, like you got Sam Rayburn and all those that are there. So they make a lot of stuff like that. But that's what I tell them too. I'm like, some of that stuff is for like certain types of lakes.
Right.
A lot of lakes we fish around here, like it might work on a few, but like you're not going to go to some of these lakes and throw some of these and expect it to work.
Because I mean, if I'm thinking what I'm thinking you're talking about, I'm assuming I understand what you're talking about. It's a pretty big fish lure, just in general, isn't it?
Yeah, you're talking like most of the time, like minimum size of like 6+ inches up to like 10 or 12.
Right.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
we had this weird phenomenon one time. We used to fish. It's pretty good pond, probably 2 acres, and it why it was so good we found out later. Some guys that were big tournament fishers would every once in a while when they'd be fishing, and maybe probably not in a tournament because you don't keep the fish right in the tournament, but every once in a while they'd be fishing or whatever, and they'd bring 5 and 6 pounders home and put in this pond. And it, like I said, it was probably getting close to 2 acres, so it wasn't just a mud hole. But
then they'd catch them and put them in their live well whenever they.
Well, I don't know. I've kept a few bass in my whole life. I've always just been love catching them, throwing them back. And if you're going to keep one, I always tell people just keep that one. Don't keep big old mama, But anyhow, we started this. Lady owned this lake. She was a little elderly, and we went and asked her, and she loves fish. We always heard it's good fishing, so we went and fished it. And we, for some reason, my buddy Chad puts on probably a 6 to almost 8 inch swim bait and just throws it out across the middle of that thing. And he's just, I'm sitting there thinking, that doesn't belong in this water. I don't even know what you got. And all of a sudden, whammo, like a 5-pound bass, whammo, 4-pound bass, whammo. He's catch like 4 of them. I was like, you got another one of those? I was scratching around. Well, then later we found out that those guys for years came home and put lake fish in there, 5 and 6-pound bass. And we caught, I don't know how many through the years we caught that was, over 5 pounds out of that place, and put them all back.
They tasted delicious.
Well, no, we put them all back. And then in 1 year's time, we came back and that place was ruined.
Yep.
And we could not catch a fish out of it. And that is right when the river otters and stuff started showing up in Southern Illinois. And we talked to somebody and they said the river otters, like 2 or 3 of them, moved into that place in the wintertime and like wiped it out.
Probably doesn't take many days either, does
No.
I mean, when fish go cold and dormant, those river otters just have their way with them, I guess, the way they made it sound. They said you could go there in the winter time and walk the banks and it was just fish pieces and scales and heads and stuff laying all around the banks of that.
That's
I don't know why. I like you got to watch me. I go down these holes, but so watch out for them river otters, everybody. Watch out for them. But,
so let me ask you this: Lathan played sports whenever he was in high school. I played sports, and I feel like playing sports is a good way to learn some valuable lessons in becoming an adult. What do you feel like you're teaching these kids by what you're doing?
So one of the first things that we do at every tournament is everybody gathers around and we pray over our team.
Yeah.
Whether we do good, whether we do bad. And like we ask the Lord to just bless us and just let us have fun.
mm-hmm.
But then it also, like, sometimes we put teams together that, like, I had one kid that was from one area and one kid that was from another. You kind of have to rely on your partner to kind of help you. Or like if you're catching fish in a specific spot, like you kind of have to work together. And so you kind of have to learn to talk to somebody you're not familiar with and to kind of, learn from them. And,
Sure.
And if one, needs help, then they're there together to kind of work through that. And so, it's just learning how to be a team with someone you don't know. Learning to be around other people, but also to show like a good example to those around us. And I've always told them, when we go to tournaments, fish has to be 12 inches. There's been times where they're like, hey, it's going to be close. I'm like, you can ask to have it checked. If it doesn't make it, it doesn't count.
Right.
We've lost inches. We've lost weight. But I told them, I said, being responsible and being accountable for what you do, like, we will always do what's right.
Right.
Sure.
Like, no matter if it makes us lose something, we will do what's right.
Yeah.
And, we had an event where it was lightning. All of our teams come in. Not everyone did, but it was an accountability of, honor system. But
Sure.
our team,
is that a rule? Or
it was just kind of like
kind of an unwritten rule.
Rule, and I've told them, I said, I would rather do what's right than to have people look at us and be like, oh, that's the team that brings in the small fish that they don't have checked.
Right.
And everyone can clearly see it's not the right length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I would rather have that kind of not worry about what, are they really doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Makes it look like you're trying to shake something over on somebody or something. So they still are in these tournaments you guys fish, they still have like live weigh-ins.
Yes. So because
I noticed some I've seen on TV are doing it like, if I understood right, I was watching one a while back, they're weighing them in the boat and just turning them loose. They don't have a weigh-in. They have to have an official, I guess.
No kidding. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, you put the fish under it. It's less stressed for the fish, for one.
It is a little bit. I've fished in both aspects where we did a catch photo release. We measured it on a board, but then there's been a lot of recently about people still cheating, like in that manner. But then, yeah, like with the official in the boat, they weigh them right there. And, I understand that aspect because when you are pre-spawn and you take a fish from 20 miles from where it was to the weigh-in, and
Yeah.
then, it just puts a lot of stress on them. And I get that, but yes, we do still do live weigh-ins. Now, if you think a fish is not going to make it, they have like an early weigh-in time where you can come bring that fish, weigh it, get it back in the water, try to keep it alive.
Mm-hmm.
If you do bring in a dead fish, like you do lose weight and you lose, so they try to kind of keep from having that happen a lot. But when you start hitting that summertime, like it's tough.
Yeah, the heat,
water's hot,
hard
trying to
on.
keep them cool, trying to keep them oxygenated, like it's hard.
I mean, it can just be tough on a fish catching him when it's 100 degrees outside and putting him right back. I've had moments where I'm like, he or she is not looking like she's going to pull through, and you just from the stress of catching them. And it does always seem worse when it's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, when it's hot like that, they're a little bit lazy sometimes. So you may not even realize you have one, and then you start reeling, and you're like, "Oh, there's tension on there," and then like you've got them gut hooked, or they're hooked in the gills, and you're like, "Oh my gosh," and you just.
So if you have that, I don't even know the rules. When you guys in your divisions, when you bring in a fish that's inevitably not living, they'll still let you weigh it in?
We can still weigh it in. If it dies in your boat, you can't get rid of it. Like you have to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's struggling, like you have the option to let it go and hope that it makes it. But then, you lose that fish.
Right.
Or you can try to make it to weigh in. And then if it dies, you lose a couple ounces.
Gotcha.
So
do you get to eat it?
Now that's what he kind of does, like say that there's a few of these lakes that have like a chum station. So like there's a few guys that go out and catfish and stuff. So you can go, there's guys usually there making some up. You can just take it to them. They're like, or if it just died right before you got here, like if you want to take it to your campsite and fillet it up and cook it, like that's fine.
Yeah.
I like some good bass.
Yeah. So I guess you're 3 years in.
This is year 2, the start of year 2.
Year 2.
Yeah.
Now you guys have got something coming up that is a hunt. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because we're big hunt guys around here. So
yes.
Tell us about that.
So we have connected with a sponsor that is from Equality, Illinois. They're called Shawnee Hills Outfitters.
Yeah.
They have given us one of their spots to raffle off for a youth hunt for the 2026 season.
Awesome.
So it is an all-inclusive kid and adult hunt that will be completely paid for. And basically we are selling 60 tickets for $100 each, and that will pay for it. And then the rest of it will come to us to help pay for our costs going forward for championships, for hotel stays and stuff that we don't have covered. And that is going to be started on November 1st, and then we'll run till January 31st.
Okay.
And then on February 1st, we will draw for that name, and then we'll get a hold of them and then get that set up for them. And that will be an all-inclusive Saturday, which next year it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday on Columbus Day.
Yeah.
All of that will be covered. They'll stay there. There's cabins. They feed them. They guide them. And they'll have their permit of a doe or buck, whatever one, they can find.
Right.
And that will be all inclusive for them to do. So
will that make up most of your budget for the year, or?
I wish I could say yes,
Yeah.
but no. Just in that will cover a portion, but not all of. So what we budget for is we have 6 teams. So we budget for every team makes it through both parts of the season, makes it to the state championship. And then if you qualify in the top 30 or 40, those people go to the Midwest Championship, which is held in Missouri. And so we budget for all of that. And so just the 2 championships alone, we have to travel. They're 2-day hunt, they're 2-day fishing events. So we have to stay in a hotel for 3 days.
Right.
So just the championships, if both or on both days for all of that, for all 6 teams is about $5,000.
Huh.
So
Wow.
So
Curtis Morris says SHO is top notch. That's a great opportunity.
Yep.
So that's very cool.
So so that don't nowhere near cover your season.
basically, the budget I've kind of come up with the first year when we did it, I kind of seen how many tournaments we could do, how far we went, and in the first year that he fished, we qualified for All Stars. They placed second in All Stars last year. We qualified for the championship. They placed in the top 40 in the championship. We went to Missouri, and they placed in the top, I believe, mid-20s.
I'm not sure.
I can't
Something
remember.
like that.
But anyways, for their first year, I thought
Supposed to
that
know
was
that, man.
pretty amazing for them. We'd never attended any tournaments. They were able to make it all the way to the end.
Yeah.
But basically it's about $1,000 per kid from fall to finish 6 events. Spring, we do 6, and every all-star event and championship, it cost me about $1,000 per kid.
So are you guys currently looking for sponsors then?
Yes, we are traveling around to some different businesses that we've not, and that's what we try not to overwhelm and be like, hey, like year after year. So like last year we were kind of in and around North City. This year we're going to kind of branch out to Carmi and stuff and a little farther. And that's what we've kind of branched out into some different areas of some other sponsors. We've got a few other giveaways that we'll be doing later on this year and next year of some other companies that we've talked to that are going to set us up with some stuff to kind of help us with our budgets and stuff.
Sure.
So we kind of, because there's all kinds of sports that they already have. There's all kinds of travel teams that are already asking consistently. So we try not to just overwhelm the same people over and over again. So we kind of move it around. But a lot of it actually falls on the parents. Like we've kind of got it budgeted in of they pay like a membership in our club that they pay.
Yeah.
That covers a lot of their stuff, but it doesn't cover a lot of the championship stuff and the hotel stuff that needs to be paid for. So,
and if I understood you right, you're saying I budget like we're all going.
Yes, I budget that everyone makes it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and
if they don't,
and
not, some of it rolls over, like that's great.
Yeah.
But a lot of that rolls over goes into like our end of year. Like I throw a party for them and we buy a lot of stuff from our sponsors that we have from fishing. We do have several fishing sponsors as well. So we buy stuff from them. And then usually I do giveaways at the party. And they have, last year I give away like a rod and reel combo that he actually won. And then, this different swim baits and stuff like that.
What was it?
It was a 13 fishing to 5 black, I think, with, I don't know. It was a spinning rod and reel combo. And I mean, it wasn't like the nicest in the world, but it was pretty good.
Wait a minute. It's supposed to be like, this is amazing. No. So are you a spinning reel guy or bait caster both? Or
I use both. I mean, a lot of times you have to resort to spinning just to catch some sometimes, but I prefer to catch them on bait caster.
So why would you have to resort to spinning? Because you have to throw a certain bait that you can't run like on a caster?
Smaller baits whenever the fish are finicky and not wanting to bite.
Right. Because bait casters can be a little finicky with smaller baits, right?
Yeah.
Some people don't realize what that even means, but a bait caster is a kind of an art form, isn't it? To learn how to throw that. I remember when someone handed me my first one when I was a kid, and I was like, this thing's a piece of junk, and now I couldn't hardly fish without
I think
one.
that's what I thought the first time you handed me one.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's
bird nest,
because you can't just reach back and rip it, like you can a Zebco 33 or something. But there's more of a fluid motion to send that thing out there and keep that line pulling. And of course, technology's changed. I'm sure they're better with different things.
That's one thing. There's definitely, when people say, oh, we'll just buy something cheap just to kind of, that is the only thing I would probably say in a bait caster. Do not go cheap.
Yeah,
because they don't have the bearings that some of the ones that I'm like, try to stay above that like $100 range. Like when you
Mhm.
drop below, you might get a few that are good here and there.
Right.
But like most of the time, like you said, the technology and stuff that they have in them, you're just not going to get that same feel
Yeah.
that you do.
I was a Daiwa guy when I had several Daiwa bait caster reels that were just phenomenal. I was like, you could just throw it and it's like it never stopped going, I was fishing with Jason Mason one time. He's like, how are you throwing? We were throwing Zoom flukes.
Yeah.
And we were fishing small water. So I was not even running any sort of weight on them, just weightless. And man, I could throw that thing all the way across that lake or that pond. And he was like, he had just like a 33 or something. And, they're going to throw 25 yards or something like that. And I bet I could throw 45, almost 50 yards,
Yep.
with that thing. And he was like, I was catching all the fish because I could throw to where they were. But yeah, well, how did we come up? I assume the name came from where one of you live, or
so where he lives in I guess it's like a township in the area. It's called Indian Creek in North City. Because when we did approach the school, they weren't able to cover it, so we can't use NCOE.
Sure.
So then we was like, well,
and why would you? They're not willing to back it.
So it's kind of like, well, now we got to come up with a name. And so I asked them and they said, well, we kind of both live in like an Indian Creek township. I said, okay. So we kind of came up with the name and the design and
I like it.
We just kind of went from there.
There you go.
So
Yep.
I didn't know. I've for some reason I pictured one of you's living, or maybe you, I guess, if you started next to a creek that was called Indian Creek. Is there an Indian Creek in Indian Creek Township?
Probably, as long as Pritzker doesn't find out.
That's true. Yeah. You might have trouble with your name there. But so the future, what's the future look like? You're like, we're just going to do it as long as we can do it.
And that's basically what I told him is as long as I can do it, as long as I can physically get in a boat and make it work. And as long as someone wants to fish, I said, as he's got a couple more years. I've got some kids that are, like I said, in 8th grade. So, they've got quite a bit of time left.
Right.
And so, here in the next year or so, like I'll have to start making adjustments to add more people. But then it falls back to how many boats do we have?
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to coach when your kid is involved. It's another thing to coach when you have no one involved.
Yeah. You don't have don't have the investment as much, as far as when it's your kid. Yeah. You're like, I'll buy a boat for my kids. Some parents, if they would.
And, for me, it's just an investment in them in general.
Yeah.
So as long as someone says, hey, I want to fish, like I have a boat, it's empty, like we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Like whatever we need to do, like we'll make it work.
Have you ever had to deal with a situation where it's like, all right, well, this team fishes this one, and then you're going to have to kind of set out, and the next tournament, this team gets the fish?
Yeah, no, that's kind of why we budget the way we do is we set our schedule at 6 events, and that's per fall, per season. So we do 12 events a year. That's what it's budgeted for. If they miss an event, there's other ones that kind of pop up throughout the season that sometimes, hey, you missed this one, but there's another one here you can go to. Then I let them. He attended a couple that was not on our schedule that he just wanted to go to. Basically, they just pay the entry fee, and then it's kind of on them to make arrangements to if it's an overnight stay or if it's one that they can drive. Usually, if it's 2 hours or less, we drive. If it's more than 2 hours, we stay.
Greyson, are you a better aspiring adult because of fishing? Do you think you'll be a better adult because of fishing?
I'm not sure really how to answer that.
That's
but
a tough one, man.
What's it taught you?
I mean, it's for sure taught me a ton of patience because it takes tons of patience, and it also has taught me like being safe on the water, like knowing how to work the water, and also respecting the people who you're fishing with.
Yeah.
So, Yeah,
So,
I'd say so.
like being in the tournaments, you probably have learned several things in regards to how to handle yourself and
Mhm.
conduct, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and
because people think, think about kids in sports. That's sometimes when things get out of, like in basketball games and
Yeah.
football games, we've all seen it, and then parents get involved. But people don't realize I could see fishing being the exact same way. Someone pull in front of your boat, when you're getting ready to throw up by this structure or whatever, and they just pull in front of you, there's opportunity there that you have to be like, all right, how am I going to conduct myself, I
Yep.
guess, is what
Mhm.
kind of what you're saying there.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah,
you ever
that's
run into that?
yeah. We have on
That's
a
kind of
couple
on the
different
coach
occasions.
too, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I have all of them sign a code of conduct
Mm-hmm.
that basically says, like, we will abide by the rules. We will do our best on and off the water and in the community.
Right.
It's not, you're not just representing yourself when you're on the water, when you're fishing.
Yeah.
When we wear our shirts and stuff out in public, people know that's part of the fishing team.
Yeah.
Right.
The way you are outside of there also reflects on that.
Yeah.
You
don't want to
there-
be like, well, they catch fish, but I can't stand to be around them,
Yeah.
that type of stuff. Yeah.
Have you ever considered doing a leaf raking day with all those boys? That'd be a great opportunity to make some money.
Yeah, I thought about some different things.
You got any comments on that, Greyson? Leave raking day.
And that's I've talked to him about, like, I would like to sit up and at when it's fall and you got a lot of the festivals going on, of just having a few of the kids there and having some rod and reels, having like a cornhole board on, and just like teaching kids
Yeah.
like how to cast, and just
Yeah.
like
That'd be
showing
neat.
the patient, like, definitely the kids would have to have patience to
Yeah.
teach these younger kids how to do that.
How to hit that spot.
And I thought about having a day of where we could have an event, somewhere at a lake somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and just have an opportunity for them to just kind of mentor to other
Right.
kids.
Yeah. You guys could also have your own tournament even.
Yeah. The trail we do does give you opportunity. There's, like I said, the open events. You can actually host it, and that means you're in charge of the weigh in, the check in, all of that, and then you get a portion of the fees that are paid into the entry fees.
Yeah.
And so, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm
And,
sure it is.
It's you're already getting
to
there
staff
early.
it,
Like,
yeah.
you're the first one there. So when it's 6 a.m. start time, you're there at 4:30.
Right.
So
It's a big day.
it's a long day, and then you're the last one to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Well, weigh-in is at 1. Well, they have over an hour more from time to check in to actually weigh in. So by the time you finish that, and then you clean up, you get everything put away, it's 3 or 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you're at Newton at 4 o'clock, it's 2 hours back home, so
Big day.
It's
What's
a
your
long day.
What's your favorite lake to fish on?
I do really like Newton.
Me
'cause
too, man.
That's where we have.
I don't know if it's still as good as it used to be. I've heard guys say it's not maybe as hot as it used to be back in the day, but
Well, I heard that there used to be like regular 6 and 7 pounders, and it's definitely not that anymore.
man,
But it's still probably the best.
My
lake you
first day
fish.
I ever fished Newton Lake, I think I didn't catch it, but I saw a 7-pounder in the boat, and I was like, "This is legit." But we pulled up there, and I've watched. That's one of the first big lakes my uncle ever took me on, and I was right out of high school, but I've watched so much fishing shows, where they just pull up to the bank and they're flipping over towards the bank, and we motor across the lake, and we stop almost 200 yards from the bank, probably at least 100, 150 yards from the bank. And we had Carolina rigs on with a leader, this long, and you have to throw it, like this. And he said, throw it as far as you can, right towards that point. And I remember watching him throw, and I started throwing, and I thought to myself, we ain't gonna catch no fish out here. And about the second cast, he caught probably 4-ish pound bass. And I was like, oh, maybe he knows what he's talking about. So we caught fish all day on a Carolina rig with a pumpkin seed salamander, like an 8-inch, and we was dipping its tail in the chartreuse
Yeah.
dip. I don't know if they still do that. He swore by it, and we caught, I don't know how many fish that day, but tons of 3-pounders.
Is that a color? Pumpkin
Seed.
pumpkin seed.
Pumpkin seed. Pumpkin.
Yep.
Whatever. Pumpkin seed.
Oh man.
That's right, isn't it? It says color, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just not pronouncing it like everybody else does in the world.
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin seed. Dip the tail in chartreuse dip, and it makes his tail glow, or not glow, but yellow.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you would want to tell people?
If you think you want to start a fishing team, or if you think you want to start doing tournament, like really think about it, because
Yeah.
Pray about it.
it's everyone asked me, like, we ended in October, and they're like, oh well, season's over. Well, it is for the kids,
Yeah.
but as a coach and trying to get set up, like it's never stops, because you're always trying to get ahead.
Yeah.
So you're always budgeting for the next year. Like, so I'm already working towards the end of this year and into 26, 27, and we ain't even got into 26 yet. But that's the only way to make it function,
Right.
without
Be out
just
ahead
like
of it.
constantly chasing your tail of like, oh, I gotta get this done. I gotta get this done. There's in October through December, you have to sign up for like a lot of the sponsors through Rapala and like Fish USA. You have to renew those every year at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I have to rewrite all of our stuff, update my roster, like go through all of that, make sure everything's up to date, and then apply for new ones or check out new ones, and see what we want to add. And then that's like the first year we had like 6 or 7 sponsors from some fishing companies, and then this year we had 13. So we had to actually change up a lot of the logos and stuff.
Yeah.
So
And
it's a
this
lot of
is
work.
all in your spare time.
It's all of my spare time.
What
So-
is your season? Like, is it just in the fall?
No, so our season starts in August and it runs till
August.
October.
Which, yeah,
And then
so that's a pretty good
that
swath.
that's when it ends in the fall, and then we start in the spring, and it starts in March, and then the spring actually extends pretty far if you make it through the championships. If you make it through to the end of the championships, you're talking July. So last
So it
year,
almost don't end then.
last year we ended in July, and basically you had from the 1st of July till August. So we maybe had a month.
That's literally like clean the boat
Yeah.
and you're back on it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a lot.
It's a lot of, most of the time we do fish like it's all back to back. So, you fish for 2 days out of that weekend. You might have one weekend off. Then the rest of that month, you fish basically almost every weekend after that. So from that August to October, like it's a lot of like 2 and 3 weekends out of the month, like we're gone, so it's a lot. And, that's what I told him when we started. I'm like, listen, this is not a go to a ball game. You're done after an hour and a half or
Right.
whatever, and you're
4
done.
quarters in a shower.
That's it. It's a lot. It's a lot to take on.
Yeah.
And, it's a lot of responsibility for the coaches. It's a lot of responsibility for the families. They're entrusting us with their kids to go and keep them
Sure.
safe during all these tournaments and
Mhm.
make sure they get there. And that's what, it's our job to keep them safe on the
Right.
water, and make smart decisions, and, don't put them in an opportunity to where they can get hurt,
Mhm.
and especially when you're talking 60, 80 boats, like
Yeah.
it's a lot of
Oh,
moving
yeah.
A
parts,
lot of people flying
so,
around. Yeah.
and then you got the weekend traffic, and you got everybody that's just around, and it's,
Yeah.
head on a swivel.
Yeah. For sure.
Uh,
Guys watched enough YouTube videos to see what can happen out
Oh,
there
yeah.
on the water.
well, Lathan, how do we want to wrap this one up?
With a bow. No. With some fishing line. Well, I would say that obviously we would do a shameless plug for you, and if anybody that watches
Yeah, for
this
sure.
and wants to help Indian Creek anglers, be a sponsor. I'm sure you take individual private sponsors,
Yeah.
right? That just, if they want to donate one time and help you out or something like that, because it's a good thing. It's a
Yeah,
wonderful
absolutely.
thing, because it's exactly what he said. When you've got kids, not everybody's going to play football.
Yep.
And not everybody's going to be a golfer or something like that, or a tennis player. But I know plenty of kids that would be like, yes, I might have quit football if there'd been a fishing team.
You quit
But-
football anyways.
No, I didn't. Well, I kind of did. That's a long story. I kind of got thrown off the football team, but
That's for another day.
For good reason. For good reason. I got pitched for being a Christian, basically. So I'd do it all. I wouldn't change a thing, right? But if they'd been a fishing team, I would have had a very serious internal struggle of, I would rather be fishing.
Oh yeah.
I did quit basketball to deer hunt. I was like, I can't do this no more. The rut's coming in, coach. I'm out.
And the rut's in right now.
And the rut's in. So that is how we, well, our plug for them.
Yep.
If you watch this and you want to be like, man, I'd like to be a part. I'd like to sponsor, maybe one time, maybe multiple times, maybe be a partner or whatever they want to call it. I'm sure you guys.
What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
So if they go on our Facebook page, we have a page created that we share all of our photos, all of our information from all our tournaments and everything.
And it's just Indian Creek
And it's
Anglers?
just Indian Creek Anglers.
Okay.
There's 2 pages. Ours is the one that is a sports team. And then basically you go on there and my phone number is on there. They can call, get a hold of me.
Perfect.
And then we can kind of work something out, whether most time, like I'll meet in person and we can discuss, whatever, or if they want to send something in, we have Venmo that they can send to us or anything like that. So, and that's like with the tickets for the giveaway. If they wanted to call, we can set that up to where they can call me. And if they want to meet me in person, they can pick up their ticket and pay that way. Or if they want to Venmo, and we'll just send them a picture of the ticket, they can do that as well. So,
okay.
Wonderful. So there's that. And then we talked earlier about wrapping this up by
a rut report.
A report on what's going on in the woods. If
Yep.
you're hunting, you might have somewhat of a knowing. If you're just getting ready to start your vacation, maybe we can help you with.
Hey, it's rolling.
The report.
It's on.
The report is it's pretty much full blown. I'd say.
I would say in some levels they're even moving into lockdown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people have told me that they've seen, when you start seeing big deer laying out in the middle of the wide open with a singular doe.
Yep.
It's full blown, which is lockdown. Now, that being said, obviously he's going to be in between does today, tomorrow, the next day, whatever. So you got to go hunting. Don't just quit because they're locking up with does, because they will. They're going to go find another girlfriend when she is.
They are not monogamous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not at all. So it is on. I seen a good one this morning. He was grunting and following does. It wasn't hard chasing. But there's also, according to your cameras, big deer just cruising without a doe.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Checking scrapes in front of cameras and stuff. Yep. So the report is it's full blown, I'd say. So
if
from
they're
now,
still checking scrapes, that's a good indicator that they're up and moving. They're doing their thing.
Yeah,
so.
He's in between. When you sent me that picture, that one standing at the scrape, I was like, well, he's in between does.
Yeah.
Be a marvelous time to be there hunting, but I wasn't there and you weren't there neither.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that when they're working a scrape, that means they don't have one currently with them.
Yeah, because they're not interested in scratching on the ground when they've got a lady friend. So
not on their mind.
So that's mine. I've been hunting the last, not tons, but the last 4 or 5 days we've been, probably between the two of us, been 5 or 6 times. And I don't think either one of us would say that we've had a hunt that was like, I don't know if the rut's happening, but it's happening.
The last 2 days have been phenomenal for me.
So go hunting.
Yep. If you get a chance, make sure you get up in a tree. And we appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate the guests coming on this evening and Indian Creek Anglers. And Lathan, you got anything else for them?
I think that's it. It's a big deal to go fishing every weekend. I know that.
Yep.
Especially when you're driving 3 or 4 hours or 2 hours or whatever it is.
Yep. Again, thank you to Miller Creek Taxidermy. We appreciate it. And until next time, we'll catch you guys later. See you guys.